Thank you. Now, I do have probably one of the world's strangest job titles in that, yes, I am a futurologist. And I always know, because I am a futurologist, what the first question is in your mind, which is, what on earth is a futurologist? Why does BT have one? Good questions. The other question generally I get is, do I have a crystal ball? I do. It doesn't work, though. So I actually have the great pleasure of having to work slightly harder for my living in probably what is one of the most fun jobs in BT, because I get to tap into what we rather pretentiously call our innovation ecosystem. Actually, some of the ecosystem is sitting right here, because we have our own R&D facility. We have lots of facilities around the world with our own people doing a lot of research. We also partner with universities as well, and also partner with the likes of the companies you can see out in the foyer there. So I get to talk to lots of people, and then actually I need to make sense of what's going on. So I actually met another futurologist the other day that called himself a trend DJ, which, aside from the fact I'm very, very jealous about his job title too, that actually represents what futurologists do. We look at trends and we try and make a mix that makes some sense. Now, you may have picked up from the introduction, I am not a technologist. I'm a psychologist. So my area is really looking at how we are changing, and we are changing as both customers and employees. Why are we changing? Well, we have these wonderful little devices that are always on and always on us. And that's actually presenting a lot of challenges for organizations, but also a lot of opportunities for us as consumers, because we are essentially networked all the time. We're hyper-connected. And yet, that's also changing some fundamental behaviors around how we shop. I would talk about that, but I haven't got that long. So I thought I would talk about how we work and how that's being changed by these devices. Now, I like to kind of summarize it as the death of Dr. No, Dilbert, and Dolly. I'm going to start with Dolly. I will assure you Dolly Parton is still alive and kicking, but the thing that's actually dating Dolly Parton at the moment is that lovely song, 9 to 5. I would sing it, but I don't have time, and also everyone would probably put their fingers in their ears. But 9 to 5, I don't actually remember the last time I worked 9 to 5. I've also thought the logic of 9 to 5 is a tiny bit weird. Why is it that at 9 o'clock in the morning we get into our cars all simultaneously and sit in queues for hours? And then we finally get to work, and then we all leave work around 5, and then we sit in more queues. Actually, if we left it till maybe if we came in at 7 and left at 3, but why are we doing 9 to 5? Now, I work in a global corporate. The other thing is that certainly you may have seen telepresence earlier. I'm on telepresence calls all around the world at the moment, so I do actually end up maybe sitting in a very, very dark office at 11 o'clock at night talking with Australia. Now, frankly, I would rather do that than fly to Australia. The thing is, 9 to 5 does not work anymore, because we are always on, we are always connected. There are good sides to that, in that we don't necessarily have to travel to the office anymore. We can literally work anywhere. We are in an era of true martini working, anytime, any place, anywhere, through any device. Because cloud, as long as we've got a browser, potentially we can fly, get the Wi-Fi wings to fly into the cloud. We can do pretty much what we want, when we want to, and where we want to. So 9 to 5. Not necessarily that relevant these days. Now, that's pushing other things. So the negative side of that is when do we turn off? And I'm doing an awful lot of work on actually techno stress. So actually, one of the problems, 1 in 3 of us are reporting we are a little bit stressed about our technology. Some of us sleep with our Blackberries under our pillow, and when it starts to flash, we want to look to see if someone's saying something nice about us. The trouble is, we don't have me time anymore. Forget work-life balance, we've got work-life blurring going on. So the death of Dolly is one thing. The other thing is that let's look at Dr. No. Let's take him as the second one. I think he is probably dead, actually. So one of the, this was the title of a seminar that I missed the other day, but it was a fascinating title, The Death of Dr. No. The intriguing thing on this one is, because we have far cooler devices at home than we do at work, so we've probably maybe got the smartphone, we use Facebook, we've got a nice sleek tablet that we use at home, and then at work we arrive and we have a laptop that needs a slight forklift truck to carry. We don't necessarily have the latest mobile phone. Of course, My pet hate at the moment are organisations that recruit on Facebook and then ban Facebook as soon as you walk through the door because it's social media. No, you must use email. The black hole for collaboration, I call email. And we're abusing email as well. Like that flashing BlackBerry light, we actually expect people to answer email really quickly. Maybe that's not the best mechanism if you want an urgent matter resolved. Actually, pick up the phone. The other thing about bringing the own device to work is the IT department, love them, they go, no, can't do that. And this is the death of Dr. No, because frankly what happens is people do it anyway. They just don't tell the IT department. Now, depending on what research you read, Gartner actually said around 25% of employees are doing this and not telling the IT department. Another piece of research that I read said that 94% of employees are doing this and not telling the IT department. Well, actually, the IT department probably does need to know, and one of the big drivers for the death of Dr. No is the fact that the first people that have adopted their own devices at work tend to be the chief executive. They get their iPad and they go, hey, I want to do email on this. IT department, let me do email on my iPad. And they're kind of screaming, oh my God, we've got to do devices that we don't control anymore. But actually, frankly, they're in a position now where they can't say no. They can't say no to people bringing their own devices. They can't say no to people social networking, because certainly those millennials out there will not use email as a collaboration tool, and all power to them because it's not a good one. They'll be using instant messaging, they'll be using social media because email is so last year. So this is another thing that we've got to really, really think about. The death of Dr. No, how does that affect the IT department, the HR department, procurement? It goes all over the place. All of this adds up to actually what are offices for? Because if I can work anywhere, any place, in true Martini style, what are offices actually for? Do I need the Dilbert compartments where I sit emailing the person that sits opposite me because I've forgotten how to talk to them? Now, one of the things we're finding, particularly with offices at the moment, is I live in Ipswich. We actually had the first open plan office in Europe in Ipswich. It's an otherwise fairly unremarkable place, it has to be said. This was a revelation in 1974, because we ripped office doors down and we suddenly said, we're going to force people together to communicate with each other. We'll put them in open plan. Fabulous. But of course, in 1974, we had a few factors that required us to have a desk. We had big IT. We probably didn't have a mobile phone. We had a lot of paper. So we were fixed, tethered to our desks. Now the chances are most of us have got laptops. Most of us do not need to be tethered. Most of us have got mobile phones. The rationale for the desk now is under real scrutiny, because one of the things that academic research and practical research has shown is that office environments are terribly hard to work in when you're doing concentrated stuff. The M&Ms start to interrupt you, the meetings and the managers. And the extent of that is big. Every 3 minutes, on average, we are interrupted at work. No wonder we never get anything done. So actually, what we're finding is the role of the office is changing fundamentally. Open plan is very 70s. We're starting to see offices as places where you go to socialize about work, bump into people, have meetings, talk to people. But if you actually want to do concentrated individual work, the office is hopeless. So we're starting to see a lot. Home working has been around for a very long time. More people are starting to adopt it now because it suits their work-life balance. But not everyone can work at home. I end up singing opera by about midday. I go bonkers. I need stimulation around me. I need people. So I've established a third space that we like to call the Koffice. So basically, that's somewhere in between the office and the home. It's generally a place where there is good coffee, good cake, good Wi-Fi, where I can fly up into the cloud and do pretty much what I want to do. And I have to say, walk into a branch of Starbucks, you will see quite a number of people who are sitting in their Koffice. So work is changing. We have an awful lot of opportunities, and I keep saying, There are bad things about tough economic times, but there are also good things as well. The good thing, and traditionally what we found in recessions, is people think innovatively. They have to. We cannot spend huge amounts of money on this. But the opportunity here is to start to rethink some of these things. Is it really necessary to go into the office? Can't we let people use their own devices? The death of Dolly, Dilbert, and Dr. No is very much on the agenda now. Thank you for listening.